So, disclaimer, these are my thoughts, commentary, opinion only, like always. I want to say this right off the bat. Like, I look up to every woman I'm talking about that has said it publicly that she believes in this, that dad should pay moms to stay at home. And like basically giving the advice to all women that if they are to stay at home, they should be paid a full-time salary by their husbands. Like once again, it's kind of like the repeal the 19th Amendment stuff. A few years ago, it was like, okay, this is such like a fringe thought pattern to have. And then it started to become more and more apparent that it was spreading through this online rhetoric. And I've seen it in comment sections more. I've seen so many people say, and I know take it with a grain of salt, it could be a bot or whatever, but still, I see it enough that it's like genuine people are genuinely believing that they will only stay at home with their children if, and I'm going to do a whole video just on the benefits of it, but this is just a discussion about telling women that they should only stay at home if and unless their husband can give them a literal full-time salary. I'm like, what price tag do you put on that? I came up with like real reasons I wanted to state and put out there. And I feel like this discussion is like, it's my only intention here is to be helpful. Once again, it's my opinions. I have been a stay at home mom for the majority of the 18 years I've been a mother, yes. But I don't feel like it is the solution for everybody. However, it brings up a lot to discuss. I don't think it's very well thought out. I made a shorts where there was a back and forth in a comment section on one of these videos. It was stated, and of course, I got no likes. I know that's kind of petty. Like I don't live for likes on comments, but I just noticed, of course, that there's no support for stay-at-home moms ever. And it would be nice if feminists could see where, the support was lacking in our culture, bring attention to the really true oppression so many women throughout the world are going through. And I know some feminists do, but I'm saying in general, a lot of the spaces I'm in, this is being brought up so much that dad should pay moms. And I don't agree with it. It's not well thought out. Most of Americans, 60% approximately, don't have a savings. We don't have an extra $500 in case of an emergency. Most of us. And then I wonder how many people have like a little teeny tiny savings that really isn't going to help in most emergencies, like us, honestly. But I had to put in my comment, like, I'm not talking about myself because I just felt like it was only a matter of time till somebody was like, see, nobody wants to be like you, barely able to pay your bills with no savings account. When in reality, most of us are in that boat. And nothing is going to truly progress and change in the ways that it should, in my opinion, unless we all fess up that most people don't have a savings. So that's, a big reason why. Hi, Mark. How are you? The economic oppression is so bad now. We're living through what I consider to be the second Great Depression, in my opinion. It's a horrible recession, and it's the convenience of the technology. The fact so many of us have little computers in our hands is just a huge distraction to the realities of it. So I'm going to go through my numbers and then I will get in the chat. I made a list of 9. I'd really like to round it out and come up with a 10th one. So I'd appreciate any input from you guys. So this isn't in any sort in order either. So in number 1, how much will men participate in domestic labor if they are paying for it? So, hi, Who's, how are you? This is what I made the shorts out of. I'm like trying to bring attention. Like, I don't think this is very well thought out. Number 1, you're basically saying only really wealthy people should even consider staying at home with their children. The children, what's best for the children is, I've never seen it considered or brought up either. And I said this, I was like, so men are supposed to participate more in domestic labor and they're also supposed to pay for it. Would you do labor that you are also paying for? And notice how I keep saying participating. When you're in these feminist spaces, be careful to never say help. If you say my husband helps me, you will literally get piled on like by a pack of dogs. I'm not kidding. They're like, he shouldn't be helping. It's his children too. And I do understand that. So it's trained my brain. See, I'm getting all worked up. And I was like that in my shorts. I'm like, this isn't to go at each other. And I'm kind of like, because it gets to me. It really bothers me to think about how many women are influenced not to do what quite possibly is, most cases, the best thing for their children because of this kind of feminist rhetoric. And they're the same persons, like, same people talk about matriarchy and how we should have a matriarchy instead of a patriarchy, which I agree with. A matriarchy wouldn't tell women to only stay at home with their children and if they were getting a full-time salary. In my opinion, I don't think that that's true at all. It would be what's best for the children. Children are centered in a patriarchy. Who's going to pay for domestic labor when they're expected to do it? My number one point, I do think that is the best, like, first thing to consider. So you're telling men they need to do more at home. At the same time, you're telling them that they need to pay their wife for what she does. How can you expect any person, man or woman, to walk in and help with the labor that they're paying for? Hi, Jesse. How are you? Number two, how is it fair her income is saved? Because this is what is always insinuated, okay? I need to check on my kid real quick. That the woman is going to have a savings account. And this is in case she needs to leave and she's not like completely dependent on an individual to be able to do so, which I do understand that. I sincerely do understand you shouldn't you should always have options ideally. And it would be a horrible situation to be in, especially as a caretaker of children, to have no place to go when you need to have some place to go. I totally understand that. We can have talks about that without saying that a man should pay his wife a full-time wage and then she gets to sock it away. Meanwhile, his full-time wage goes towards the house and the expenses. I don't think that's fair. That's not egalitarian to me. That's treating women as like a special class. And they'll probably argue this, that she's making so many sacrifices of her career and everything, but let's be real, most of us aren't really. Let's just be real. I wouldn't have been like a rocket scientist if I hadn't been a stay-at-home mom. I'm sure I would have been doing more piddly jobs just like I was, cashier, waitress. I'm sorry, I didn't mean piddly. I mean nothing with a sustainable future, nothing that's giving me a good retirement account all throughout my 20s and then even into my 30s. Honestly, if I wasn't a mother, I think I would have only gotten into more debt. And that's another conversation we need to have. Let's encourage people to be debt free, to stop financing things, to quit being a debt slave, and I just don't think it's fair to say that men should pay women, and then at the same time, the woman should be able to keep all of her income for her job, but the man still has to provide for all the necessities, food, mortgage, utilities. That's not fair to me at all. Three, economic oppression. Once again, you're telling people only stay at home with your babies if your husband can pay you a wage when you know it's harder than ever. And the history of this country as we know it, for any man to have enough money to sustain a family as well as pay the woman a full-time wage on top of that. And Americans, like I already said, 60% of Americans don't even have a savings account. Four, this could lend to I'm sorry, women getting with wealthy and not generous men who aren't the best providers. Just because a man has tons of money doesn't mean he's going to be a good provider. Let's have those conversations. My husband's a good provider, not because he makes a shit ton of money, but because if he does lose his job, if he decides to switch jobs, he'll have a new job within a day. He can make one phone call and have a job because he's such a good worker and has the connections after working full time for so long. He is a good provider in that, like, I can depend on him to pay the bills and feed us, and I tell my kids all the time, I've told all 3 of our kids while raising them, we are able to be at home, we are able to be cozy at home, we're able to go to the library when we want to, we're able to do this fun thing because daddy is working hard for us. Even though daddy isn't here with us, he is out working, so we can do this, and this is what's missing. That needs to be done for the mothers too. We need to quit giving all the accolades to dads. Like they should get all those accolades, but we need to also give some to the mothers. The dads need to come home and be like, you know what, your mom could be out there making money. And like, a lot of women prefer that. There's nothing wrong with that. But your mother is really sacrificing by being in the home and taking care of us in the home. And like, this is a big piece that's lacking and why so many women don't want to do it, in my opinion. And then you add this kind of rhetoric on there, only do it if he can pay you a full-time job. I will get into the chat when I'm done with my list. It's only 9 things. I'm on the fifth one. Generous men with good work ethic. Oh, I'm sorry. Number 4 was this could lend to women getting with wealthy, not generous men who aren't the best providers. This could lend to financial abuse, in my opinion, aiming only for ultra wealthy men. If it is really like, a lot, I always knew I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Just like some women always knew they wanted to be child-free. I always knew I wanted to be a mom and I was going to stay at home with my kids. I just always knew that. I didn't plan on staying home with them as long and home educating them. But really, in their most formative years, most people just have 1 or 2 kids nowadays. It's a big family to have 3 kids. How many years are you really staying at home anyways? You know what I mean? Number 4 and 5, I'm sorry, I didn't realize how similar they were. Number 5, generous men with good work ethics are the best providers. They don't always have a ton of money. I already kind of said all that. I'm sorry. 6, root of the problem is late stage capitalism. Okay. It's not women not getting paid. You can't put a price tag on motherhood, in my opinion. We need to talk about late stage capitalism and how we can combat that. And we need to like raise our kids, in my opinion, to be debt free, to not finance anything unless you have to be as self sustainable as possible. There's so many things that go into that. Number 7, how? Encourage alternative forms of living, being more self sustainable, voting with our dollar, being debt free. I'm sorry, I'm like getting ahead of myself. 8, what is best for the children? You know, The future, all of our future, whether you have children or not, children are the future for everybody. So why is this never discussed? It is never considered whenever I've never seen a woman say any, and it's completely fine to be selfish, okay? It is completely fine to choose yourself and be child free. I mean that with all my heart. I think that's great. I think it's awesome we're having more conversations and people are, being more accepting of not everybody is going to grow up, like get married and have kids. That's not everybody's life path. It never was for us to like shove things on everybody. And then it just kills me when I see feminists doing it. Like this, like there's never going to be one solution for anybody's life. And number nine, childcare expenses. No, notice how I put this at the end of my list because I never had to pay for it. And I almost forgot, like, this is a huge consideration why one might stay at home. Often usually the woman isn't making as much money as the man. Not always, and that is changing. But let's be real. Usually she's in a career that's making like 40, $50,000 a year. And then for them to pay for childcare, to have two or three kids in childcare, two kids, even one, that eats away at her income so much that she's basically only bringing 10,000. Even if you split it evenly between the two of them, it still is in a lot of people's perspective, they'd rather not have a little bit of extra income. And I know 10, 12, $20,000 is significant, but in my opinion, it is worth to sacrifice that to stay at home with children during their most formative years. And I feel like none of these women have ever known anybody that had children in daycare because any people that we knew, it's like their children were so sick all the time. And I know sometimes people simply can't help it. So I'm not saying they're bad parents for putting their kids in daycare at all. But the reality of the situation is little kids need to build up their antibodies to everything in the environment. We face so many pathogens every day and they're brand new little immune systems. It's like you're just asking for a kid to like, and then you have to deal with like I've never known somebody that had their kid in full-time daycare that didn't also have a grandma or somebody they could heavily rely on for when like that you can't miss as many work days as your kid is going to be sick. Okay. I would venture to just this is something I'll make a blanket statement on. Any child that goes to daycare from the age of 6 weeks old to like 6 years old or 5 years old, whenever they go to school, that child is going to have more sick days than either parent can have sick days at work. It's just undeniable. This is something that's never brought up. What is the best outcome for children? And I don't want to make anybody feel bad, okay? Like, this is something that we can help the future. We can help possibly our children be able to make better decisions for their children by having these discussions. I'm not trying to like bash anybody that's already made decisions or already had to do what they had to do. I think it has to be just like I'm pro choice because like I think that has to be one of the hardest choices for a woman to make. And like I just think most people that do put their kids in daycare, like they don't want to, especially when they're 6 weeks old, they don't necessarily want to do that. It is late stage capitalism. And in my opinion, these feminists that harp on this, they are like playing into it. You're like playing into it's like dystopian to me. It's like 1984. Only stay at home with your kids if your husband can pay you a full-time wage. What? And you know that it's more oppressive than ever economically. It's harder than ever to climb up the ladder. And like it's just absolutely ridiculous to put the weight of that on men as well as women. And I see more and more people talking about it. Okay, I'm gonna go up in the chat. We weren't built off debt until the 50s, Tom's said. Yeah, Patriot, yeah, I've lived my whole life without credit cards. Good for you. I've never had a credit card that was like over 500 limit because obviously I was a stay-at-home mom mostly, but that's why I teach my kids like just you have to play the game if you want a good credit score, get one tiny credit card. This is why I'm leaving the Midwest. The women here are falling off the map, bro. See, I don't ever wanna come off as like a woman hater or basher. I definitely, I'm not one of those women that says I'm anti-feminist, but man, I do understand why there are so many people that don't want to be associated with feminism and call themselves anti-feminist. I do. But I also think it's kind of silly because let's be real, none of you would be watching me if we didn't have women fight for the rights to be treated like somewhat equally. And I do think socially we're not equal, but I'll take that compared to what a lot of women are going through in other countries that are like oppressed in like every way. Thanks, Zach. How are you, Mr. Carey? Um, Hi, TWC. How are you? Oh, thank you for all the nice compliments. No way, kids are germ factories. Amazing, Tom said. Yeah, it's definitely something to consider that I've seen so many people struggle with. Fifth River Rat, thank you for saying I love your videos. That's so nice. You don't understand how much that means to me. Lydia, do you ever slow down? Leroy, when I'm, like, worked up about something like this, it is sincerely hard for me to slow down. I'll, like, lose my train of thought. Did you guys see dementia is going up in young people, like 24 to 30 something, and they say it's from all the scrolling and like our attention spans. I know my attention span is not as good as it used to be. What terms are you talking about, Tom? I need you to tell me the terms you mean. Patriot, same, trying to be like a karate kid, the best around and nothing ever gonna keep me down. Kevin, my grandpa is addicted to Viagra, no one taking it harder than Yeah, and actually, I feel for a lot of women because they don't have a pill that makes them feel more like that, and then they have to deal with their husbands and they probably want to break. That's a whole other video though, but like I do think there's a lot behind that. This is what it looks like to hit the wall. Yeah, Sanch, I'm completely fine with being 38 years old and having some fine lines and wrinkles and age spots and not being as attractive and having as many men want to stick their penis in me. Boo hoo. God, I sincerely enjoy getting less attention. I sincerely enjoy not getting catcalled. I really, really do. And I'm not saying that I never do. But yeah, I know I'm not as attractive, and some douchebag on the internet could never make me feel any certain way about myself. Patriot Watcher, if she belongs to you, you're very lucky man. I bet y'all good together. Oh, now Zach, my husband, he's at work right now, and he's Boston George in the chat. What did women accomplish? So all the greatest things were done by men. Yeah, Lasange, but if you're still in here, I hope you are. Women were oppressed. We literally couldn't go to universities. We couldn't go to libraries. You know what I mean? And even so, there was people like Ada Lovelace who wrote what was considered to be the first computer code or what was a precursor to computer codes, and she wasn't even allowed in libraries. And she was married to Lord Byron. And then, of course, there's going to be people that say, no, she really didn't. I'm like, whatever. You literally won't ever give credit to women, even when it's due. There's all sorts of advancements women have made. Heidi Lamar helped us with what turned into Wi Fi. Imagine the advancements that could have been made. Did you guys hear that they thought that we could only make fire 50,000 years ago and they found evidence proving that it was more like 400,000 at least? It's like, I don't believe anything. Some male, couldn't decide if Pluto was a planet or not in my lifetime. I don't put tons of stock into anything any male says. You go from 50,000 to 400,000. And this is like, they think they thought that people might have been able to do it before as far as like there was lightning and they captured the fire. But actually starting a fire with like flint and stuff, there's proof that it was at least 400,000 years ago. And they're all surprised by it. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised one bit. When are you all going to admit to like the batteries you found that were like tens of thousands of years old and stuff too, you know? I have a long history of women in my family balance. And I'm still trying to figure out what the gripe is. Toms, if you're still in here, a lot of people that consider themselves feminists, especially it's like a feminist thing, so you might not have heard this yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if you do, whatever circles you're in soon. They tell women only stay at home with your children if your husband can give you a full-time salary because you are sacrificing work, a retirement account, all these things. Years in the workforce is kind of detrimental depending on what your career is. And I disagree with it. I think it's harmful, even. And I think what the true problem is like late stage capitalism. And you guys, this isn't like a hairdo. This is what I do to make my hair wavy. Just so you know, I don't like walk around in public like this, but um, we're going out for Christmas stuff tonight. It's not a Tom, it's a discussion. Thank you, Patriot Watcher. That is true. Lissant, if you think you need to deal with your husband, you shouldn't be married to them. Yeah, Lasanch, I agree. I don't know who said deal like that, but I agree with you. You should marry a man that you look up to and you respect so much that like he can't even tell you when he thinks you should calm down or something without age spots are caused by fungus. I think it's caused by extra melanin in the skin, Patriot. Gripe slash discussion slash bone to pick. Well, if you aren't into discussions about topics, you don't have to be here, Toms. And see, if a man was having it, it wouldn't be considered a gripe or bone to pick. You know what I mean? I've said this so many times before. I literally have been like, oh my gosh, look at how that car just cut that other person off. And somebody will be like, rare. And I'm like, why are you doing the rare thing? I literally just made an observation about something. It wasn't even about a particular person. And then like you're saying rare. Like women literally aren't allowed to say anything without people going in on them. If I could reach up and hold a star every time you made me smile. Oh, Victor, that's so nice. Women put a man on the moon. Yeah, Callan, there was black women that did a lot of the math, actually. Nobody ever talks about that. You don't even go to libraries. Yes, I do, Lysandra. I'm a home educating mom. I've been going to libraries my whole life. My grandma took me to a library almost on a weekly basis. And yeah, honestly, I don't read as much as I should. I have books that I've bought that I haven't even touched, and it is a problem. Donde está la biblioteca? Where is the library? Is that what you're asking, Zonk? I think that's what that is. Leroy, yeah, get a vacuum fish tank pump cleaner. It makes it massive. Oh my God, Leroy, no. Women don't want massive. Tom's, yeah, but the woman had a male co-pilot. No, okay, I shouldn't say that as a blanket statement. Most women, there's actually like Chinese, some kind of Chinese philosophy or something that's like about how like people are like they either fit together or they don't. Like, like your physiology, like there are people that are just gonna like fit your body like a puzzle piece, and other people like it, so that could, you know what I mean? And I think that's why men are varying sizes. They're meant to be that way. Yeah, but that woman had a male co-pilot. Oh, here we go. Women have better hand-eye coordination. Really, the only thing you guys got on us is brute strength, okay? Women have better hand-eye coordination. They have better outcomes as surgeons and pilots because they have better hand-eye coordination. It's almost like we make up for the fact that we are the weaker vessel. And I'll say that again, and since there's a lot of people in here that probably like need to hear it so badly because you're the non-emotional ones, right? But your ego is like throbbing nerve that needs to be soothed. That's probably not a good euphemism to use. I'm the weaker vessel. I'm weaker as a woman. Women are weaker physically. Men build more things because they are stronger physically. Men are responsible for building all of our infrastructure, and it is very important. Okay. Where do we go from here? What do you want to do now? What can we talk about the things that affect men and women and children now? Um, be present and not heard. Like, I'm gonna do that on my YouTube. You use burnt cotton for fire starting. Tom's, yeah, lint from a dryer. Not that fabric softeners, the chemicals in that, but lint from a dryer, especially if you don't use fabric softeners, that is a great fire starter. We lived off grid for 11 and a half months. Or ash tree bark. I didn't know that. Okay, I'm not a bot. Yeah, I have an OF. I literally made content about how I don't believe there is sex work. It's an unfair exchange. Even if it's just nude pictures, that's still an unfair exchange. And if men could stop being the demand for it, that'd be nice. If y'all could like talk to each other about how ridiculous it is that your penises literally lead your life and cause you to like destroy your life sometimes for a few seconds of pleasure. I've never see that discussion being had. Feminism stemmed from focusing on white women other than the black man. Facts. What are you saying, Larry? Like around the same time of civil rights? Is that what you're saying? I just feel like the two kind of collide, just like women were on the front line of the abolitionist movement. They were a lot of who were like, this isn't right that we enslave people in our country. And then when they helped with that and they realized that they had an impact, they had influence, but they still weren't allowed to vote, that's when they started saying, okay, so like we like basically made this abolitionist movement what it was. And then men take all the credit for it, like literally so many things. And then they decided to go fight for their right to vote. So I kind of see, like, I don't want to compare racism to misogyny. I really don't. But like, yeah, misogynoir, that's like a reason. There's no term for like uh hate of black men in that specific way. Misogynoir is like hating a woman just because she's a black woman, and I absolutely believe that's very prevalent. Mm. It shows in our infant and maternal mortality rates even. Trigger men more that like make me laugh honest Saturday morning while I smoke and drink my coffee. Well, I'm glad I can make you laugh, Toms. I mean that sincerely. Is she a feminist? Are you talking about me, Krypton? See, I mean, I don't ever want, like I said, I don't want to be one of those women that says I'm against feminism because feminism is why I'm here. And I acknowledge that. But I also understand why a lot of women don't want to be implicated with the third or whatever fourth wave we're on right now. Like, I have three sons. So a lot of radical feminists would just write me off on the basis that I didn't abort my babies because they were male, And I know that's extreme, Not all feminists think like that at all, but a lot of them do, and that is true misandry. Your mouth ain't weak, you release 10,000 sentences in a minute. Ag, that's funny. Hey, Mr. Carey, Bossy Truthy, I saw you in YV Edits live, Bossy Truthy. I was watching YV Edit yesterday and I saw you. And I was almost like, hey, but I don't know. I know I tagged Melanie Hamlet in my shorts earlier today. I'm talking about the like paying because I love these women. Melanie Hamlet, YV Edit. YV Edit, she did a series a year or two ago on like breaking down the pillars of the patriarchy. It was one of the most enlightening experiences of my life. So I'm never gonna like write somebody off because they say something I don't agree with when I know that they obviously, and she's the kind of person she can change her mind and say, hey, yeah, I did change my mind, and it was in part because people brought this to my attention, and has to be untreated cotton, Tom said. Joseph, in whom we have redemption through the blood, the forgiveness of sins according to the riches of his grace, Ephesians 1:7. Thank you for that, Joseph. I don't consider myself religious, but I appreciate anybody who is. Bossy, Truthy, Tom and Jerry, you don't worry. Um, Thank you, Lillian. Was thinking about an LF, but looking for GF. I don't think I would help. It would help. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, it's a gift. And I don't care. Laugh at this. Put the laughing face. It's a gift you give your partner when you share intimacy with them and them alone. That's a gift. It is a gift if you're a man and you tell your woman, you're like, I really like, I'm not interested in that. My husband gave me permission to say this, so he like one day we were apart for 13 months, like, I brought it up in a playful kind of way, you know what I mean? He's like, "I don't watch that anymore." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "I just got to the point where, like, it always made me feel bad." There's so many instances where you're like, "Is this woman a woman? Like, is she of age?" This was before they took 80% of their content from Pornhub down in 2020. That and, like, so many women just seem to not be that into it and seem like they're, like, in pain even, and it's just, like, not pleasurable, and then you always have this gross feeling when you're done, like, "Ew," like, you just did something you weren't supposed to do. And I was like, "I thought women just felt that. I didn't think any man felt that. Because why are so many of them so addicted to I guess they just, like, move past that, and I don't think that that's healthy, and it isn't natural to watch other people think about it. 100 years ago, it was literally impossible to just watch whatever category of smut with however many people you wanted to watch. And there is something going on with men. I do think it's emasculating for a man to watch other men penetrate other women. I do. There, I said it. And it's part of the reason why there's so many, like, trolls with nothing to do, with, like, men that really like my husband, he's never giving women shit on the internet, never has, never will, because he's working or spending time with his family. The men that get online to just, like, literally start shit I'm not talking about true philosophical debates. I'm talking about just, like, to shit on women. This exemplifies, like, why there is such a rift between men and women. You don't see women and I'm sure there's female trolls, but it's like hurt men that get so emotional and then call me the emotional one when I'm literally talking. And anybody that watches me for any length of time can see I can totally handle somebody not thinking exactly what I think. Is there a patriarchy? Tom's, yes, I do think that we live in a artificial, I mean, it's real, a simulated hierarchy where men, particularly white men, are at the top. Do you disagree with that, Toms? Because I have a feeling that you do. This is definitely a male's world. Most of our tennis shoes are designed for male feet. Most tennis shoes are designed based on male anatomy. All crash test dummies are male anatomy. Most CPR dummies are male anatomy. I mean, just think about like why anybody would think it's not. A man's world, like we've been saying for decades. It's just crazy to me. Ready to Glare, she's somebody I've been watching for years, and she was like, "Oh, and people bring up the patriarchy around." I'm like, I am an unusual person, aren't I? But I feel like I'm not. I feel like there's probably a lot of people that think like I do, and just like kind of in the middle of a lot of things, you know? She is amazing, Bossy Truthy. I love her. I was just watching her quantum physics thing before I got on here or listening to it. She had such an interesting video she just posted today. And it's interesting too. A lot of people, there's somebody that frequents my lives that wants to like go to Russia, and she's from Ukraine. I know that's not Russia, but she's like an immigrant from the Ukraine. And it's just interesting to me that uh, so many men are like attracted to those kinds of women when they actually are very strong-willed and strong-minded. In a lot of ways, I agree. I have no rights. I know that Patriot Watcher said. Angel don't say angels don't fall, said satanic, to be honest. What do you mean that about angel? I think that it's like good versus evil, and I put like demons and satanic like just in on the evil side, even though I don't necessarily believe in a devil or demons, but I do believe it's just like the evil energy that exists, and it's always good versus evil, and it's definitely like coming to a head whether or not something happens in our lifetimes. Oh, here we go. Tom's got those grays showing. Those boys driving you to an early gray. I don't know if you meant to put grave. Yeah, I have a lot of you know how harmful hair dye is? And then we have a septic and we've got fruit trees out there. And I'm like, I don't want to dye my hair, send all those chemicals down the drain just so I look more appealing to people. Yeah, my husband cried when I asked him. He got teary-eyed. You guys are gonna say he's a simp. He has a better life than anybody that would call him a simp, I'd venture to say. When I said, "Do you think I should dye my hair?" Like, it's just, like, so many white hairs, and I have done it once, and I was like and he said, "When I look at you and I see your white hair, I don't see you getting older. I just see all the years we've had together." And he started to get teary-eyed. You all of you that are trolling me or ever trolled me, you wish you had that kind of love and intimacy. And that is what monogamy and lifetime partnership is all about. For those who want it, we all age, we all get older. Everybody gets older. Nobody's body is the same as it was when they were 20 forever. Nobody's is. Whether or not you have children. I see a lot of women saying that I'm not going to have babies because I don't want to put my body through that complete. No, good for you. Because like your pelvic floor and everything, I'm sure is going to be better for the rest of your life for it, but like we still age, there's no escaping the aging process. And it's something that needs to be embraced. Women are one of three mammals that go through menopause, meaning we have evolved to stay around for a quarter of our life past our fertile years because we are so important to everybody around us. The matriarch of the family is the glue of the family most of the time, right? When you have plans, all of you that have plans for Christmas, who made the plans? Who invited you? Was it a man or a woman? Was it grandma or grandpa? Oh, thank you so much for the floating heart, Mr. Carey. They make women's shoes. Men don't wear high heels. That's a weak argument. That's why I said tennis shoes, Patriot Watcher. You literally have to look for a brand if you are a runner that will actually have designed shoes after your foot as a female. I wouldn't doubt it if high heels were men, but I know they're not. And women don't wanna wear high heels. I've literally never owned a pair of high heels in my life. I've never liked them. I've always been awkward in a kinda way, like, women don't like I have had platforms, but, like, not all women walk around in high heels or platforms. That's not what makes a woman a woman. It's like makeup and hair, like, those rigid gender roles, if we could let go of that, everything would be so much better and healthier, in my opinion. Just let people be people, and most of the time, most women do. It's you men that, like, literally put people in a box and like make fun of them and harass them and bully them and this patriarchy where you talk about we built everything, we built all the infrastructure, you also built all these horrible systems that's poisoning all of us, the whole planet. You also built this structure where it's okay to bully people to death. You do that. You say when a little boy gets molested, that's what we all would have wanted and shit like that. You impede progression. You inhibit real growth by staying in these like small-minded, denying the animus. It's like we talk about this all the time. I really need to get back into this. Jungian psychology. Carl Jung. There's an inner anima, I'm sorry, inner feminine in men called the anima, inner masculine in women called the animus. One big reason why misogyny is so detrimental to everybody that practices it is it makes you hate yourself. It makes you hate a part of yourself. I'm not calling you girly, okay? I'm not. And so, like, if you just didn't hate women so much, you wouldn't take offense to being told that you have an inner feminine. Carl Jung said that almost 100 years ago, or was it 100 years ago now? It's like, we are kings, but we need a queen in order to be a complete king. Zach, that's sweet. Some men, yeah, I do agree. And that's why I said, like, when men are genuinely happy and he's a king of his castle, like my husband is, he's not out there like trying to like make other people feel bad about their life. He's got too much going on, too many people to take care of to make that a hobby. You're a real one for saying it's a men's world. Well, the higher observer, I don't think many could doubt that. And I understand the arguments against DEI. Women get so many scholarships compared to men, and now there's like more women graduating in lots of fields than men. And I do feel like maybe we don't need as many. scholarships and certain conversations like that can take place. Kentucky was the first state to default to 50-50 custody in every divorce. Kentucky was the first state. Everybody wants to talk about how we're so backwards. We need to make this a precedent in every state, in my opinion. When my sons, if they ever have children, I want them to be able to live in any state and know that they will get or have the opportunity to have 50-50 custody. And what I'd be really interested in seeing is how many actually result in 50-50 custody, because let's be real, even though it defaults to that, I'm sure there's plenty of men they can't do 50-50 because they work so much, right? So there's just so many conversations that could actually help people. Oh, Fendi, hey, bossy, you're lucky we live in a country with laws when society feels your face will be under a man's boot. See, honk donkey, that's the kind of shit because so many men are so evil. That's why. You guys want to blame literally everything on women. Literally everything's our fault. Literally everything. And say we don't take accountability. But then you say shit like that without acknowledging the reason why that is because so many of you are so awful. And you need laws and you need like repercussions to certain things you do to like in order not to do them. And that's pretty creepy. That's scary. Imagine being the weaker vessel that gets penetrated and walking around in a world with you guys. I know men can get raped too. Yes, we are angry. We can express our anger, Bossy said. Patriot Watcher, some say demons are parasite infestation. That's really interesting, Patriot. I do believe in parasites being more of a problem than most people recognize. That's kind of looked at as like this alternative health foo-foo thing. My I'd give my kid a bubble bath. He's 8 years old, so don't want dye in your hair, but you're okay with Botox. Roddy, I don't use Botox. Have you guys anybody that's seen the chat for the last 36 minutes? You notice how many people try to tell me I look like I'm in my 50s? I know I don't. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with looking like you're in your 50s. When you're 50, if people try to like tear me down and make me say that I'm older, and then people say I have Botox, I just take really good care of my skin. Okay. Look, is this Botox? Look at all those fine lines. No, I don't. No, I don't do Botox. If I was going to do Botox, I'd have them fix my wonky eye. I'd be like, do whatever you have to do, inject something here, or here, so my eyes are symmetrical. Don't you think I would do that? Or did you think that's why I have Botox because my eyes are fucked up? It's just so funny. Now, I've never had any injections like that at all, and I do think that it's horrible that so many women feel like they have to because there's just constant comments about your looks, about aging, and I sincerely don't care about it, but I understand why a lot of women do, and I did used to care about it, so I feel for those younger women when they are in the prime of their beauty, as most people would consider, then they're worried getting old and like, oh my gosh. And it's like, it's a gift. I lost friends in their 30s. Every year is a gift. Aging is a literal gift from God. And we need to like be that way about it. And you'll only age better and gracefully. I probably look as good as I do because I don't sit around worrying about how good I look. Yes, that man definitely has a simp. She probably slaps him around. No window to wilderness. Better to simp than be a MAGA PDF file, Long Walk said. Yeah, I agree with that. I just talk fast because I can. It's not because I'm triggered. I do like to talk about things I'm interested in. And with all these feminists saying that only stay at home if the man can pay you a full-time salary, and I haven't seen anybody else be the voice to be like, hey, wait a second, let's discuss this. Let's discuss all the nuances of this. Let's keep in mind that 60% of Americans don't even have $500 saved for an emergency. So how do you expect anybody? And it's like, so it's basically gets to the point where this is a whole other video. We're saying in so many ways without straight up saying it that only wealthy people should be able to procreate. Is this not 1984? Is this like not what it used to be considered dystopian? Now I understand not bringing children into the world if you're absolutely destitute, especially multiple children. But oh, thank you, Bossy Truthy. That's so sweet. More plastic in your face and on my vinyl kitchen floor. Okay, Grotto, you can think that all you want, but I'm just proof that a 38-year-old woman can not spend a ton of money on her skin and stuff and still look. I don't even know if that's a compliment. Good enough that people might think that I had shit injected. Look, see this big age spot right here. If I was the kind of woman that like went and got work done, I would get look at this. I have this like saggy, you guys don't see it, but it's from tweezing my chin because I have so much facial hair because I've had PCOS since I was at least 10 years old. You guys can't do anything that's gonna make me feel bad about myself. and you don't really see it because of the camera, but, like, I have this patch that's, like, literally saggy and weird looking. If I was going to, like, fuck with my face, I would take care of things like that that are, like, legit autoimmune conditions, caused by that. But honestly, I would never do that until I had, like, literally $100,000 saved. I couldn't imagine spending any money on myself when I've got 3 sons. Hopefully 2 might, do something that they need help with, whether it's college or apprenticing in a trade. Hey, I'm in my 50s, but look 42ish. Hey, Gnostic Light Being, I remember you. How are you if you're still in here? Um, we need to start look shaming men. Bossy Truthy, I kind of do agree. How like the dad bod thing is a thing really gets to me. It's like we literally risk our lives and we are the ones that get ragged on no matter what, you know? If you're a woman and you never bounce back, then you don't get called, "Oh, look at her cute mom bod." And she's literally the one who's going through all the changes. And she's the one, her body is just naturally comprised of more fat. It just is. And then if you do bounce back, you get shit on for that too. So it's like you can't win. And embrace your natural beauty, Gnostic said. Leroy, I give myself facials. I actually made a video about it. One of my recent edited videos is my skincare routine, which I don't recommend for everybody because like a lot of the stuff I do probably isn't the best, but like because I am aging, I just go ahead and but it kills me that there's so many women that are trying so hard not to age. They're making themselves look worse. Like, I hate to say that. I would say my wife is in the prime of her beauty, but she left me. My wife left me. Cordy Smock, I'm very sorry to hear that. If you're still married, I would like to think there's still hope. Tom's marry in the church or wherever, but to sign the legal government paperwork. Mhm. So, Tom's, if you're still in here, okay, I guess you are because you just commented. My my husband's father wasn't engaged, didn't live with a woman. She got most of his estate. You need to just be careful about what women you're messing with, because they could there's black widows out there that know how to play the legal system and wherever you live, and they might not even be residing with you and still get most of what your kid should have gotten. So whenever somebody says their advice is to stay away from marriage, I always have to bring that up. That's not an issue, like, you look how down they go to attack your looks, that just reveals their true character, Bossy Truth, said. "You're ragged on because your looks are gone." Okay, Volcom, okay. If you think so, that's completely fine with me. Women over 40 don't look human. Arborist, that said like somebody who's done a little bit too much, stimulating to the same stimuli, causing their brain to be rewired and like be so I couldn't imagine thinking that way. I saw this guy, several guys in a comment telling me that no women are pretty without makeup. No, not one, not one. I'm like, it's 2025. It's okay to just be gay. Just be out there with if you literally don't think women are attractive, just be yourself. Live whatever life you want to. There's like women hit the wall and every woman above 40. Obviously, I can't think of her name. There's like this Italian actress. Oh my God, she is so undeniable. There's so many women that are beautiful. And in my opinion, a lot of them are the ones that age gracefully. They don't try so hard to fight what is just natural. And like I said, I welcome less men thinking I'm attractive. That beauty privilege, it doesn't lend to most good things. People think that like you automatically get tipped so much more as a waitress. Well, there's also people that maybe don't want to tip you because they want to do something to the pretty little waitress that's going to like hurt her feelings because they can't wait to shit on a pretty little waitress. Nobody takes that into consideration. I'm completely fine with age, and thank you, Alfred. I will not speak bad, just one side have more balance on your platform. James, I mean, it is my opinions, and I have literal live chats where I welcome all opinions. I don't know how, unless I made an edited video, I don't know how I would do that. Veritas, like belief in gods that have no evidence, it's equivalent to believing in Santa as an adult. I don't know exactly what you're saying that to, Veritas. I feel like people believe in gender norms like a freaking religion. And like, yes, we can't generalize and say masculine is giving, feminine is receiving, things like that that I think are like generally true. But these like gender roles, you're a woman, you're not allowed to do anything but have babies and stay at home. And the same men that say crap like that will also denigrate it and talk about how they're lazy, they're gold diggers, they're not really doing. We never see the homemaker, the stay-at-home mom being uplifted, and that is one thing that I want to talk about. And I just had a back and forth with a young mother yesterday. It made me so sad for her. And she opened up to me. She's like, "I nobody like my husband. I love him. He's great. I always talk about how he's such a good provider to our kids, but he never tells me I'm a good mom. He never tells me I'm doing a good job." And part of it is the way that we socialize, the way that everybody, all of society, looks down on stay-at-home moms. And I'm so thankful to have a platform, no matter how small. I am so thankful to be able to like say these things I've been thinking for the majority of the last 18 years and have people be able to tell me what they think about it. I don't expect to change a lot of minds. I think that we gravitate towards people we're on the same path with. That's why I don't understand the trolls. They're just such lost souls. They're literally bouncing around, like trying to bully people because I guess they didn't get enough out of their system in like fucking school because it's such a juvenile way to act. Yes, we need to start from sure we are very kind. That's the problem, Bossy Truthy said. Oh, I hope not MacArthur, Trump 2028. Whoever wins the president, they're all the same. They're all the same. Whoever wins is situations. That's how I look at it. Women are always looking for an upgrade. Jive as. So my husband just left a position where our income is like more than cut in half so he can be at home more. And I was happy about it. Not all women are fucking gold diggers. I'm so tired of this trope. I'd rather have less money and have my husband here at home able to help me more. Before he was out of town except for 1 day a week, and it was so horrible and sad. And every time you know, call it codependent, whatever you want. Yeah, I was like, come home, do it home. Like, we won't have as much money. Fine, we'll be fine, especially because of my YouTube. Not all women. See. I know somebody's gonna take it wrong when I talk about my past. Some women literally could have tried marrying a millionaire and had a taste of that life and realized I don't want to be under somebody's thumb because he has so much more wealth than me and my family, and therefore he's always going to have more power. That was intimidating. I didn't like that situation. I couldn't imagine having a baby with a man and then telling him you're going to pay me money and then that guy ever like changing a diaper or doing anything to help you, or like if you really do need a break and you're like, okay, I need some time, is he going to be like, okay, give me some of that money back? I just, it doesn't, nobody's thinking this through. House of All the Animals said, "Where was your father when you were growing up? Is your mother still married to your father? Did you get to spend a lot of time with your father?" Until 8 years old, my parents got divorced, and my husband's parents got divorced when he was 8 years old too. I just always thought that was so interesting that we like went through the same big things, and we were happy about it because my dad wasn't a great person, and he was in and out of my life. Not Then my mom got with my stepdad when I was 8, and she's still with him. Laugh out loud. I have girls to tell me I would stay with you even if we had to live in a tent, and then when it comes to moving it, they would leave acid burn. I have, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong and anybody's like wrong to assume that about a lot of women. And some of it comes from what I'm talking about. It's like in feminist spaces where they're having great discussions about like quantum physics and like the simulated reality and like, right, stimulating discussions. They're also saying don't stay at home unless the guy can give you a salary. And then you save all of that. You don't participate in like you don't give any of your, but then he has to give all of his salary. I'm sorry, that's just going to land to a lot of not good things, in my opinion. I'm afraid of having a daughter and then it turns out this way. Oh, Alejandro, I'm afraid my son's going to grow up and have some anime profile picture and be a troll when he should be being productive and making money in the middle of a beautiful Saturday. Blake, I guarantee that this woman has either not had relations with her husband in a week or the husband has given up and settled with his chicken. Wrong, Blake. We did it less than 24 hours ago. Next. My first daughter, I didn't even know I had a daughter until she was 7 years old. Oh, acid burn, that's sad. Travis, love you, critic girl, but you're crazy. I'll mouth the real problem. Okay, Travis. I just don't like, there's millions of YouTube creators. You could spend your whole life, literally, you would never get done in your life going around and telling everybody that says something you don't agree with that you don't agree with them. Like, I just couldn't imagine. I'd rather actually learn and sop up information from people with different life experiences than me and learn from them. Moonshiner, I always found the gold digger trope is bad until it's one's daughter and potential husbands. Then there needs to be a whole pedigree, cover letter, credit check, Moonshiner. If this is true. That's what I'm saying. My husband is a good provider. He's not a wealthy man. My husband is generous. He's a good provider. He's not a wealthy man. Two things can be, these can all be true at the same time. You can be a wealthy man and not be a generous man. You can be a wealthy man and lord over your family with the fact that you provide them with this game. I mean, even women, men without wealth do that shit sometimes too, you know? It's like, I don't get that. I would only want my children to be with people that were like good people that doesn't equal money. And it's like they'll talk about late stage capitalism and not realize how much they're playing into the hand of it, in my opinion. Blake said, "We already know your dad wasn't there." Ooh, Blake, just like what, half of us? Because y'all ain't shit when it comes to parenting half the time. Let's be real. Let's talk about whose fault that is. You're not going to shame me for my dad not being in my life when I said I've had a stepdad who stepped in when I was 8 years old and literally bought my kids their first cars. Like he's a great grandpa. And it's the men that are failing society by sleeping with women they want nothing to do with, and they create children they want nothing to do with. That's all the man's fault. I'm so sick of seeing single moms be shit on when it's literally the men failing. Remember, two people date, and it's because of the draw you share between each other is love. Eventually, that love becomes an actual golden line between is called love. Gnostic. That's so sweet. In my opinion, I think, and this is generalizing, men and women love differently, and it's meant to be that way. Women tend to get a little attached sooner, and it's meant to be that way. And if you have the love of a good man for several years, that love from a good man, like a good man loving for a lifetime, and that love is so strong and it is so rare and it is so undervalued too. Um, that's how empathy works, Gnostic said. I was rich until I was 38 years old and couldn't trust nobody to really love me, so, I never got married. Asperger said, "Oh, Toms, why are you so wrapped up around the salary thing?" Because I see it get brought up a lot, Toms. And I'm a YouTube channel that commentates on different things. I don't have like a very specific enough reason for you, I don't think. Besides the obvious, I've been a stay-at-home mom most of the last 18 years. I did have an at-home business. I did work full-time for 18 months, and I was the breadwinner during those 18 months. And I only stopped because I had to get a hysterectomy to avoid getting cancer. And after that, I created a third hernia because I already had two hernias. And I went back to work at the factory with three hernias and I just couldn't hang. And that's when my husband decided to go back to work. And that's another thing. Like marriage is so great because you can change roles if and when you need to. So you never know if your spouse might become disabled someday, Like it's not about they're always gonna make my life easier by paying all the bills. It should never be about that, and I do understand now in these economic times why people want that security more than ever, but, like, telling women not to stay at home with their kids unless they can save a salary, I don't agree with it so much, and that's what I'm saying, it's, like, smart women that are leading a lot of progression, I feel like. Good, smart women keep parroting this, and I don't feel like they're thinking it through. You make a good point, Lydia. Mothers seem to keep society from collapsing sometimes. Yeah, Moonshiner. It really is the most thankless work. Blake, I already feel like relapsing on opioids after hearing you for 5 minutes. Your husband is a soldier and a good man. Okay, Blake, that doesn't make me feel any certain way except for thinking you're a very weak man. Okay, go do your drugs. Women do it too. We could say this about anything I'm talking about. That's why I'm like, yeah, we're generalizing here, but I don't know exactly what you're saying women do it too, James, but I'm sure you're right because we're all human beings, is the point. Let's brainwash women with truth, bossy truth. He said, expose men altogether. Gnostic light being. If you're talking financial before going on a date, no, hard pass. House of all animals. I am also glad that you and your husband actually liked each other. I've been married for 20 years and have 11 children, 33 dogs, and 10 cats on the deck. Oh, that's so cool. House of all the animals. Do you have a YouTube channel? If you haven't yet, oh, thank you, Mr. Carey. No, I'm not a trans woman, and nobody's gonna make me feel bad saying that shit too. So anybody that's trying to like take a dig at me, says anything about my teeth, my nose, and the white hair I have, you just know I automatically know I'm better looking than you, okay? Because if you were better looking than me by default, you wouldn't be going around like that's not how it works. People that are insecure about their looks to the point where they're grown adults, forgive me, if you're like under 18, bless your heart, like go find something else to do. But like grown adults that do these things, they're always pecking up. They're never pecking down, okay? You're not a good looking person that's secure with your own looks going around and saying shit to other people about their looks, okay? I know as a good looking person that's secure with my own looks, that's not how we move in the world. And y'all just make yourselves look really super silly and juvenile. Your engagement also helps my channel and is part of why I get as many views as I get on my lives. Thank you, snowboarded. How is it women don't do wrong in your conversation? How did I say that women don't do wrong? I'm literally talking, the whole conversation is centered around what I don't agree with a lot of feminists saying. That is technically women doing. I do think it's that serious that children are that important that they are doing wrong by children. The same women that say we should have a matriarchy, which I agree, matriarchy centers children. But then they're saying don't stay at home with the children unless you're with a man that can give you like $70,000 a year in a savings account. Let's be real. Lydia wouldn't have had this grand retirement account. I know some women would have built that up by now. I do. I get that. And I think that's awesome when like you know your path and you want to have a career and you kick ass at it. But not everybody's meant to do that. Most of us don't have $500 saved, whatever you do for money. And you spend as much as you make often. Even these people that you think have all this money live in really nice houses. They're house poor often. All of their money is gone after payday, just like the rest of us. They just have more of it and their bills are more expensive and they're in more debt. If we could have these conversations about like this is what could really help change the future, is like we need to all be a part of like alternative forms of living, housing, anybody that can. Like I just feel like there should be a movement. Like it would be great if we got subsidized for it, but I know that will never happen. Like anybody who can help and like put an additional dwelling unit on their property or any way you can help people live rent free or close to rent free is the only way we're gonna climb out of this. Oh, acid burn, you've been a homesteader for 3 months. You cope some more, Volcom. Is progression always good, especially when it's cloaked in piss poor ideas and mistruths? Well, I definitely don't want to go back. I don't want to regress. And I do think it's a cycle that's going to end. So it's going to progress to the end where it implodes and therefore the earth renews upon itself because all these systems are unsustainable. You can't keep siphoning everything off the actual people that work. That's another thing I want to talk about on my channel. I'm sorry, I know there's exceptions. I know there's people that do things that are office work. Like and those are mentally taxing. I'm not talking about just physical work. I'm talking people that actually work. So I'm not just talking about blue collar work that I talk about a lot. People that actually do work make the least amount of money. And we need to like start having pride and take pride in the fact that like a lot of us eat shit so the world can keep running. The supply chain is so important. And that is women too. It's not just men. There's because of technology and everything, we have we have pallet jacks, we have ratchets, we have power tools now, guys. I don't know if you knew that, but there's actually a lot of ways that physical work has been made to be a lot easier. Um, Anyways, I do need to let you go now. Why are you asking Bossy Truthy how much she weighs? See what I mean? We're the less logical ones. You'll never see a woman being like, "How much do you weigh?" Trying to like pull one over on somebody. Sam, ask your mom, Bossy. And I'm sure you're the kind of person that considers any woman fat that's like not super skinny. But then if she's super skinny, there's something wrong about that too. And it's like I really couldn't imagine walking around and only thinking like what the 1%, less than 1% of people in the media are the only people that are attractive or worth anything because of attractiveness. Because I've been brainwashed so much to just like bow down to media and ads and literal one ideal beauty standard, and the bodies change from decade to decade. We're supposed to have a different body type from decade to decade, but we can all agree it's like white European beauty features, uh with a touch of ethnic now with the lip injections and like your channel will grow to over 100,000 subscribers before end of next year. Gnostic, I hope so. Because I would love to go debt free, buy a farm. I mean it, you guys. If I take off on YouTube, you will see me put my money where my mouth. I will literally help somebody get into a tiny house on a piece of land with the septic, with the utilities and everything. That really isn't, that's not that hard to do here. If you have the extra money, the problem is it's people that don't have the extra money don't want to do anything with their extra money, but take it and multiply it and get more, more, more. They're all fucking greedy. And you have to hold me accountable for it. When I do hit 100,000, if I'm not talking about it, which I already made one live about it, but I don't want to do it over and over. It's like we already have an extra water meter and an electric pole, and if we had a single wide like given to us that we could rehab or something we got really cheap, it might be possible to do on this property now. Oh, That's really hard, the guiding key. I just made Parmesan chicken for the first time the other night. It was so freaking good, and it was really good heated up. It was, like, even more tender the next night because I made so much, we ate it 2 nights in a row. Ethnic equals lip injection, what the hell? Oh, most white women don't why do you think yeah. They're trying to look like they're trying to take the good things from black women, let's be real, the big butt, big not all black women, but, like, generalizing European beauty standards, I can't help but acknowledge they're also trying to like, that's why there's so much plastic surgery, so many features being changed. I think women that don't have big lips can be absolutely beautiful. It's all about proportion. Some people aren't meant to have big lips. I'm James, the brother of Jesus, carefully steadfast, never cast stones, unless you're so pure you could stare into the eyes of God, Gnostic. Oh, I feel like I know I come off as like super judgmental, but I really do love you all. And I just want to start these conversations that I think can be beneficial overall. That's what I'm going to do. And yeah, if I was making good YouTube money, you'll see it's only a matter of time before I'm like, we sold our double wide and now we're going to move on. And it's because of YouTube that I would be able to do that so easily. Oh, Melissa, stop it. Yeah, because 'cause I'm a quarter Colombian, I'm 13% indigenous and 12% Spanish or whatever, and, the indigenous, I think, is where and my mom, she has pretty big lips, and I really like I've said that before, she had, like, a great grandma that was a Cherokee. Some white women have big lips, let's be real. The ones that are getting lip injections are trying to look like something that they're not, okay? They're not trying to look like other white women with big lips, okay? I've had so many people tell me in my life they can tell I'm not all white. And like, yeah. Help me get into a house where I'm serious. I'll help pay for only. I'll get 1080 a month over my disability. I can sell my new car. Oh, acid burn. Remember God sees world through our very own eyes. There's no hiding what you do in the eyes of God sees through the sight we have. But yeah, I do feel like a lot of beauty standards are taken from ethnic, and then we're supposed to be like very fair skin, and then if you're fair skin, you want darker skin, you want to tan. It's just insane what we do. And if I could have felt the way I feel now about myself 10, 15, 20 years ago, I would have been so much better off. And that's one reason I want to be an example for women. Like, yes, most people can agree you're in your prime when you're like 18 to 30 years old, men and women. There was a smaller YouTuber, he made a great video talking about how that's like a red pill thing that men age like wine, and that's not always true. Some men, sure, but once again, it's like what the men that hit the genetic lottery. Not everybody's like, who am I thinking about? Who am I thinking about? George something, something George, like, just seems to get better the older he gets, like, no, let's be real, most men, no, and that's why it's, like, when you do want that, when you're in a partnership with somebody, like, aging doesn't matter because you love them so much, you're not going to not love them because of aging unless it's, like, something that we're being brainwashed into more and more, which I do feel like there is. When somebody said it earlier, women over 40 are monsters or something. So I love you guys. The dad bod is diabolical. Musco, I don't know if you heard me say that earlier. Clooney, thank you for fatal. Yes, that's who I was talking about. I mean, he was so handsome. He was like on the Golden Girls in an episode when he was in his 30s, I believe. Oh my gosh, he's always been. If you're just like some men don't grow into their looks until they're a little bit older. And the older I get, the more I can tell. Like he's like in that awkward stage where he hasn't quite grown into like his bone structure. And I do think that that happens sometimes too. Like men take a little bit longer to develop but it's not like they all are like George Clooney, let's be real. When I see people bash folks that talk through their beliefs, tarot readers, folks that project potentially that our past dead families are very much present as soon as you think about them. Ted Danson is also competition, LOLs. Moonshiner. Okay. Yeah, you do see Rage and Ricky. Do I see a stunted person that has no life? No, we all age. And one of my best friends died when she was 34 years old. She had two kinds of cancer. She died when she was 34 years old, left behind a child. And then the dad of that child killed himself within a month of her dying. Nothing any of you could say could make me feel bad about the fact that I'm still here. I actually feel better than I have in my 20s and most of my 30s because of like health issues I had and getting my hysterectomy. I'm actually like doing better now. I feel better and I know better and I'm like more confident in myself than ever before. So whenever somebody says stuff like that, I'm just like, I can't help but look down on you. I'm sorry. I automatically look down on you and not I'm better than you and like a bless your heart. Like you must not be a fully developed actualized person because you wouldn't be talking about a 38-year-old woman's gray hairs. I have a severely autistic son. Um I've aged. I got Sarah Palin vibes. All you need is glasses. I wish I had her boobs. Gnostic, my previous relationship called handsome, so I imagine myself as a good-looking man. Yeah, Gnostic. I think that all people can be beautiful. You know, you just health is a foundation of beauty, first of all. If you like take care of yourself, I think everybody has beautiful traits. Once you unbrainwash yourself from like, this is the only way somebody, all men have to have a big jaw that's chiseled and like 6 foot at least. And look at people as like it would be so boring. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go like a cottage garden is my favorite kind of garden. A bunch of different kinds of flowers. I bet all 21 of you guys in the chat right now would agree. There's nothing, almost nothing more beautiful than like a ton of beautiful flowers thriving in the same space. Diversity is so beautiful. We wouldn't want to walk. Okay, there is something beautiful about a field full of tulips. I get that too. Even more beautiful if there's different colors. Like we need diversity. It's a permaculture principle. It's true in nature. We are healthier. Everybody in the ecosystem is better off with it. And that's how I look at it. Like we need different ideas. We need people that lean towards the left. We need people that lean towards the right. We help keep each other in balance. And this whole only stay at home if the husband, if the father of the kids, I'm sorry, I know not everybody's married, if they can pay you a wage, that's not helping anybody, in my opinion. I don't think that that's really helping anybody. I think it's great if you can do that. If you have that much money, good for you, more power to you. But it shouldn't be a goal to put in women's heads. They need to start their healing journey is what it is. Maybe a good sauna will help. Yes, awake and aware of myself. I trust my guts because they'll never lie to me. My heart has lied to me. Gnostic. Yes, we all need to learn to trust our instincts. Bossy said gray hairs are like trend now. Right, some girls without gray hair dye their hair gray. You're so pretty. That's easy for you to say, Richard said. Oh, thank you, Richard. I'm just saying, if you see the trolls in the chat, there's always people trying to like tear me down. I don't want anybody to think I'm conceited. I kicked ego out of my life. That's the way to be, Gnostic. Not enough men know how to do that. And it can be so great and have so much potential in every other way. Scripto. Food is my favorite thing to grow, Tornado said. That's cool, Tornado. Same thing with food. The more different varieties, even if you're just growing peppers, the more variety of peppers you have, the better. Less pests and everything. If you're going to grow a variety of crops, that's even better. That's why monocrop farming doesn't make any sense. You should never look down on people and everyone should say positive things. Yeah, James, I understand the sentiment. But this world is going to hell in a handbasket. I don't think we can all be positive all the time. That's why I'm trying to come from a place of love. I really am. Like, I love these women that say this. And that's one reason it's just like some people might think I have a chip on my shoulder about it. It's not that. I think about all the other women that might hear this or feel let down or they are at home with the little ones because now my two older kids are older. It's like obvious. I have no doubt in my mind I made the right decision. But this mother I was going back and forth with yesterday when she said, like, yeah, and like I just never get told I'm a good mom. And it's like how I could just tell her kids were younger. It's like, I don't know how old your kids are, but like one day they will be your proof and you won't feel like this as much, I promise. And she told me her kids were young. I already knew they were young. I could tell by the way she was talking. Um, okay. I do drugs because I hate myself, and that's boring. Perkaholic. I'm sorry to hear that, Perkaholic. Just keep trying to improve. I know what it's like to be in a depressive state. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And then I feel bad when I do go off on trolls sometimes. I do think, oh, somebody's like going through something mentally and I'm making it worse. But I'm sorry, you can just shit on me on my platform. Like, I'm not going to hold back anymore. Gnostic, I'm going to be better than anyone. If I'm going to be better than anyone, it's myself yesterday. If I challenge, it'll be better. It'll be myself to share awareness that we are all deserving no matter what you've been through. Do you have a channel, Gnostic Light Being? That's very sweet. We're all human beings. Reality is beautiful. Women know they are beautiful. Beautiful women just humble. Well, not that humble anymore, bossy. Why do people do rugs when they can mow lawns? Moonshine. I guess a lot of lawns are dead right now, they don't need mowed. James, lots of women in the chat room today. Yeah, it is nice to have some women. Micah, I'm 23. I got 9 acres in Louisiana. Let's go on a date, please, girly. Oh, I'm married, Micah, but good for you. And if that's true, that's awesome. Don't let go of that 9 acres, man, unless you're getting more land. This is not the place, Perkaholic Scripture said. Oh, everybody is welcome to share whatever they want if they're comfortable with it. Michael Jackson's pronouns were he, he. No, you're okay, Perkaholic. I don't. I'm so all over the place. I bring up so much stuff. You guys are allowed to what some people might consider trauma dump. You're allowed to say whatever the freak you want as long as you're not saying something super overtly sexual or something mean, some kind of death threat. You know what I mean? You're not threatening violence. You can say whatever you want because I feel like I do it. Okay, this was fun, and I keep telling myself I have a few edited videos from my lives. I'm trying to make more lives into edited videos. Take this like 70 minutes and trim it down to like 10 or 20 with all my main points. It's so I'm not complaining. Scripto, thank you for saying that I'm cool. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and like I was saying, I don't agree with everything a lot of people I follow say, and I wouldn't speak out about it like this unless I didn't think that it was truly important. I'm pushing my early 60s, Gnostic said. Cool, Gnostic. I hope you feel well and you're healthy. Okay. Thank you for saying that, Renicta. I'm gonna go now. Thank you, Glutahin. You guys are so sweet. Everybody's ending it with all the sweet things, not the trolls. Have fun out there. Enjoy the weekend, Moonshiner said. You too, Moonshiner. I'm gonna have so much fun doing Christmas activities with my teenager in the next few days. I love you guys. Bye.